welcome KCIW listeners of 100.7 at kciw.org, Brookings, Oregon, and syndicated with our listeners at KZZH 96.7 FM, Access, Humboldt, Eureka, California. Yep, this is me, Joanie Lindenmeyer. This is our show, Joyously Free. I'm a best-selling author, and I'm so glad you are tuning in today. So besides being an author, I'm a 34-year resident of Harbor, Oregon, a retired Del Norte High School teacher, and of course, you know all about my books. They're all over town. But more importantly, I love life, and I love being the producer and host of this show. I'm so glad all of you are here with us today. So as we do every week, let's begin with our morning salutation. I say it's a brand new day, and you respond with, never been lived before. All right, everybody ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. It's a brand new day.
Never been lived before.
Woo-hoo! I love it when my guest speakers can just automatically tune right in with that. And you too, wherever you happen to be today, it is a brand new day. So this Radio Gadio show, as Will and Viv named it, is a show that talks about LGBTQ plus stories and tips, along with religion, church, faith, spirituality, and joy. Joyously freedom. This is a place where we can share and radiate and spread that joy and that freedom in so many ways. It's also my second book, and you know that's how it got its name. So this radio show, as in life, everywhere in our town, from business to churches to schools, no hate speech, no hate behaviors, and no bullying. It will be blasted with the 3 C's, courage, confidence, and collaboration. And you're going to hear a lot about that today from our guest speaker, courage, confidence, and collaboration. So let's be open-minded as an open parachute. As with every show, let's begin with a prayer. Let's open our hearts. We ask our Creator to shine light on our community and our world. I excitedly believe in hope, in the power of the divine, and that Jesus, God, whatever name you put on a higher being, is always with me and always with you. So we do not have to be afraid or troubled, saddened or depressed. Joy and peace are an internal expression of that love and harmony, and all we have to do is reach deep within and let it out. Let's center ourselves. Let's take a big, deep breath in with the good and out with any doubt. Again, breathing in through your nose with hope and out from your mouth with fears. Last one. Take a big, big, deep breath in with joy and out with any worry or despair. In the name of Mother Earth, our Creator God, a Jesus, a Redeemer, the blowing winds of the Spirit, we say, good morning, Holy One. The quote that I picked today for our reading is pretty simple, but very powerful. Dreams. When you share a dream, you work together to make it happen. I'm going to read that one more time. Dreams. When you share a dream, you work together to make it happen. When I read that in my spiritual living room corner this morning, all I could do was thinking about all the ways that we connect with other people. When we share a dream, they get involved in it. When somebody shares a dream with us, we want to know, how's it going? What are you doing? How can I help? And that's what collaboration is. That's what makes dreams work. And there's no limit to what kind of dream you might have, whether that's business or personal or a religion or sexual identity, whatever your dream is, go for it because you always will have people around you. Well, those are my quick, short reflections today. So with that, I say, you know what? Let's lift up our friends and our family right now today in our community. May our Creator guide us and heal us. May He bring us joy and happiness. And that's what this show is all about. Thank you, dear Lord. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Well, with that, we are in rural America here on the coast, and I'm excited to introduce a friend, a new friend, but also a really, really cool, dynamic, and if you can get this, she has more energy than I do. Her name is Kemberly Todd. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. She is the Technical Assistant Coordinator, Community Economic Development for Women in Business. And guess what our topic is? Women's superpowers. Kim, thank you for being here.
Good morning, Joanie. I don't think anyone has better energy than you.
Oh,
Let me just
I
say.
don't know. I think you do. I think you
I'll
do.
try and match it.
Okay. Well, what a joy it is to have you here to talk about women superpowers. So I'm going to start off. I know you drove in from Roseburg today. How are you?
I'm great. We drove in yesterday, actually, from Roseburg in the rain. And then we, as always, when happens, we get to rural Southwest coast, is we were greeted by the sun eventually and ended up having a wonderful event last night at the shop Small Women in Business at Chetco Brewing. And we had several small business owners and pop-ups at the brewery at wonderful off-the-wagon food truck food. And it was great. All the community partners out there and really trying to support those local small businesses with those first holiday forays.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And we have a great community of business people here in this town. So I'm looking forward to chatting about that. So how did you get involved in women, business, and community?
Well, I am a woman, so we'll just start with that. But I had a small business, and small business owners are the biggest economic engine in America. They generally are 5 or fewer employees, so they're not maybe as organized as the larger employers, but 6 out of 10 jobs in our country are related to small business owners.
Wow.
And then we start talking about rural. So my business was in a rural area, which has a great amount of advantages. There are certain numbers where you can really make a larger impact just because it's a smaller community, depending on the small business that you have. After I closed my small business, I decided to go back to school and learn how I could be a supporter of small business owners, because it was so clear to me that I didn't have a lot of mentorship, places that I could talk to people who weren't my friends and family members. I don't suggest people talk a lot about their small business to their friends and family, because it's just a different category. And after I went to school, I started working at the Small Business Development Centers. You have one here in Curry. It's the SWAC Small Business Development Center. They're a great organization. And at the pandemic times, our rural areas were very tested, because one thing that happens in rural areas is when there are emergencies, there are things like fires, or there's reactions to national emergencies or local emergencies. There's money and resources that flood in, but very often cities and counties aren't at capacity to distribute these. So I learned quickly, CCD Business Development Corporation, where I work, they're a 55-year young economic development company in Southwest Oregon, serving Coos, Curry, and Douglas. That's what the CCD stands for. They were the instrument of distribution for all the grants and all of the resources that were distributed during specifically the coronavirus pandemic. So as somebody who helps small businesses, I kept directing people to CCD. They quickly realized that there were some gaps and some obstacles that small businesses are overcoming in even getting those grants. And they started this department that I now head called Technical Assistance. And we've been going 4 years strong. This September marked our 4-year anniversary. And we've been able to close gaps and overcome obstacles for small businesses, and then turn them to the other resources like the Small Business Development Centers and other economic development in the region that can continue to support and help them.
That is so awesome. Oh, I know that's a mouthful right there. If I had to put a summary on it, I'm hearing mentorship. I'm hearing camaraderie for people and putting people together for the use of resources. I'm hearing grants. I'm hearing money. I'm hearing support for a businesswoman or a small business.
Right. So one of the things that we learned during this time were a lot of things were happening that had never happened before, a lot of new resources. We had somebody come to our region from a statewide organization called Accelerate Women. They had a fund to loan to women, small businesses. And they shared during this conference that we all attended that only 4% of all women-owned businesses exceed $1 million in revenue. And their particular objective at that organization was to see women scale their business. So they were coming out to these areas and saying, who are your scalable businesses, traded sectors that can be sold over state lines and things like that. We all left that meeting, a group of us women, and we were like, well, that was cool. And we just started talking, and they said, we should keep meeting like this. And I took it back to our community and economic development director and said, these women want to keep meeting. What should we do? And he said, I want you to organize these, but do it in all 3 counties. And so he took what was a concept and grounded it down with the resources and facilitation costs of someone like me to start these meetings. And one thing I share, you talked a lot about sharing your dreams when we started this today, and I agree with that. I agree that sharing your dreams with the right people matter too. Mm-hmm. And when I talk to small business owners, and they are very much in a concept mode, kind of trying to develop how this is going to look, because the ideas really can spread out. Mm-hmm. My goal is to help them, again, ground their ideas and maybe prioritize what those first steps will look like. And I tell them, when you have a dream and you've set it up here, trust that the scaffolding is going to show up to get you there, because you have to trust the process. And you don't always know. It can't be plotted on a map. It can't be predicted. But people like me are going to come out. People like Accelerate Women are going to come out. People like local community members are going to come out and say, I see a partnership or a collaboration. And that's how things happen organically. Because when things happen organically, they might take longer than we think. We always have this expectation of wanting things to materialize sooner. But when it takes longer, it's stronger, it's more organic, and it has staying power. And that's what we've learned about the Women in Business events. They started with a few people gathering in living rooms, and now we have regular meetings once per month. And depending on the topic or the month, they're just amazing in their numbers.
They are. And to me, they are joyously free monthly gatherings, because I know as an author, here I am as an author, and then next thing I know, I'm a businesswoman. I'm running my business of books and promotion and da-da-da-da-da. And everybody is starting somewhere. So when we gathered on those monthly meetings, one was at the Umbrella Farms, one was at SWAC. There have been numerous places where they are.
Right.
The collaboration, the networking, the tribe of these women, I think those superpowers just burst even more.
I agree. You're making me so excited right now. They burst so much over the last 3 years that we're actually planning our first Women in Business Leadership Conference, where we're going to get all 3 of the counties together under one roof to really start honing in more of those collaborations, but on a larger scale. We call it in our groups chocolate and peanut butter. Mm-hmm. And it's just, again, an organic story that came about. And chocolate and peanut butter is when you have 2 already great things on their own, but then you combine them and they make something even greater. And that's the kind of magic and collaboration you're referring to that happens in those meetings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And related to that, can you tell the listeners, if a woman is out there and she's thinking, oh, I would like to start a business, or I want to support businesses, where can they go? What can they do?
One of the first things you can do to get in touch with our organization is go to our website at ccdbusiness.org. And there is a page that will say, put your email in here for more information. So just your presence is amazing. And I will share with you that when we started on this journey of technical assistance, we didn't limit it just to small businesses. We also help nonprofit organizations.
Oh.
And this is important because not everybody has funding to help nonprofits, because a lot of funding is based on taxes, right? And do nonprofits, they're a different status. One of the statistics I learned, and we know this, we all volunteer or we all benefit from nonprofits in our own communities. One of the statistics I learned at a conference was that 15% of any community's economy is tied to nonprofits, whether it's the money they bring in that wouldn't be there otherwise, the jobs they're providing that wouldn't be there, and then, of course, the intrinsic values and the things they're actually providing the community. Mm-hmm. So we don't maybe support that kind of effort enough. And we have a great team at CCD that can help nonprofits with their gaps and their obstacles that they're having. So I would encourage everyone to visit our website. And
can you repeat that one more time, please?
ccdbusiness.org. And CCD stands for Coos Curry Douglas. So the other thing that we do is the Women in Business meetings are open to everybody. They are free. We provide refreshments, and we provide raffles.
Yes.
Raffles is another organic item. Somebody brought a big raffle basket once and we've never given it back. We just keep filling it and giving away. So it's really this level of comfort when you come to these meetings. You don't have to come prepared. Women, I always tell them, you come at whatever level of commitment you can. If you can't stay for the whole meeting or you have to come late, just come as you are. very common that we have to bring kids with us or do things that are maybe not a traditional meeting. That's why I like having these. They're just the most comfortable place for you to gather for that first time. When I was a small business owner, I would get flown to a conference for the industry I was in, or maybe I'd get a training. They'd come to our area, but I didn't get professional development. And I really get fed in the job I'm at now to get professional development, to get those tools and learn what other people that do what I do are doing at an even greater, so I can incorporate it. This is one of those places that you can come for some professional development. You're not the only one that's been against some of these things. Every meeting features a small business spotlight, and that means that a business is going to stand up for 10 minutes, show a slideshow sometimes, or just talk about where they've been and where they're going. And very often they start off with, I've been doing this for 5 years, and I really just now want to get serious about it. So I think a lot of people hearing that can understand that they're not operating at level 10 every day, right? We have a lot of other constraints on our time and our capacity. So I really feel like it's meeting people where they're at and helping them to move forward, providing those steps.
That's so excellent.
It's the best.
And there's no expectations. It's what a person wants to put into it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Sometimes people stand up and say that they're working on a fundraiser for one of the volunteer organizations, and can we all support that? That is just as much a part of our lives as anything else. And in these meetings, I've learned to say, for women in business especially, conversation is our currency. We really are able to hold so much wisdom at the same time and know when to deliver it to the next person. And when people do present to our groups, I say, if you want to tell us stuff that you want to get out to the rest of the community, because they're the doers, they keep track of things, they care about things, and they like to share the things they care about.
Oh, that is so right on.
That's
so
true.
Right on. And it's all applicable to what they're doing. So it's not you just show up and talk and then nothing happens. There are next steps, which I love about it. You're there as a resource, as a say, hey, I'll email you. I can help you with this. You want a web page? Hey, here's what we can do.
Absolutely. One of the game changers with technical assistance is professional services. So I appreciate that I came from the Small Business Development Center background because I knew I love their programs. I am the biggest fan for them. When I came to CCD, it was more about listening. A lot of listening. There isn't a nationwide network saying these are the things that we've learned are good. This was leaning in and going, what's the problem here? And they said, well, I haven't applied for this grant because I haven't done my taxes in 2 years. You haven't done your taxes? Okay, that's not uncommon. It takes a business owner a lot of vulnerability to say those words. And so I appreciate that coming out to their place sometimes creates that space that they can tell me the things. So after I learned of some of the gaps they were having, I would come back to our team and say, if we could find an accountant to catch up people's taxes, and they go, let's do that. Let's find a couple of local accountants, and then they can meet with them privately, and we can fund for those professional services. Do you know what a load that takes off of a business? Because not only are they getting caught up and now able to gain resources potentially through being able to submit the right documentation, they now have a resource in their community because all of our resource providers, professional providers, are locals in the 3 counties. And so now they're able to go forward and know where they can go next year when they need to file their taxes or when they need to ask a question about changing their business entity. On the coast, one of the biggest things we learned through the process of letting our partners share was how important being visible is. Mm-hmm. Being visible, because your numbers swell, no pun intended, to extraordinary amounts during your high seasons. And if you're not discoverable on Google particularly, then you aren't going to be getting that kind of business that you really see. So 90% of all search aggregation is done on Google. We learned that at one of our meetings. That's not going to change anytime soon. So now we don't need to tell everybody, do everything we say, get your Google My Business. It's free, it's a low barrier, and we sit next to you on your laptop. Once you become a client, all my time is covered, and we sit next to you on the laptop and say, click here. Now you're going to want to add pictures. And then that's where we maybe start with some clients, but then when they come to our women in business groups and they share a raffle item, somebody takes a picture of it and then Google reviews them. So we really do practice what we teach, which is the ways to support business are buying from them, supporting them on their digital space, sharing their events, and leaving reviews.
Exactly. I'm all into it. I'm giving you high fives, high tens, big hugs, and coming from an LGBTQ standpoint, what I have loved about being involved in the local women's business here in Curry County is that every single one of the business women I've met have been so supportive of LGBTQ. And what can I do to make it more friendly, Joanie? How can I attract more LGBTQ people to this? And so there become safe spaces in terms of business, because many times in my life as a lesbian woman, we were disgruntled when we walked in and we were shunned or not looked in the eye as a customer for a business person. And this community here is open to all of that, which is beautiful. Oh my gosh. Do you want to give any shout outs to some of the local women that are super empowering people and themselves right now?
I will share with you, there is a book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and I had read it, and she talks about this swirl of ideas. She's an author, longer story, but that ideas are always circulating around. They're looking for a ground rod. And if you're not going to move on it, it tends to hop over to somebody else. That's why sometimes when you have a good idea and you don't develop it, and a couple years later on TV, you see somebody's selling something, you're like, I had that idea. That's because it was swirling for other people too, and they developed it. So that's pretty common. But what happened because we went to a meeting in Douglas, once we came over to Curry County, I met up with a few women and I said, hey, I noticed you guys are very active on your Facebook group over here, promoting each other's businesses. And we're kind of working on a women in business group. And they said, we're already meeting in each other's living rooms. We love this. We would love for you to organize. And again, that chocolate and peanut butter came together. And that was Michelle Boobert, who we all know now as the executive director of the Curry County Chamber, and Marie Curtis, who is one of our most stellar real estate brokers here in Curry at RE/MAX. So those two, instrumental. They were already having a new residence meeting. And so I showed up to that new residence meeting, got a bag full of goodies and flyers and samples. And she really introduced me to a lot of small businesses through those samples. I didn't know you had a gold buyer in town. I went to visit that person. I went to the Agnes store. So those are my shout outs. And if you haven't been to the Curry County Chamber recently, you've got to go. And not only do you have to go, you should join. She is a megaphone that is a marketing genius. She's also one of our professional service providers for websites. So those are my shout outs for sure. And I do want to say that there's so many women at our Women in Business that have never missed a meeting and have really been the backbone of this. So there's so many I can think of, but I don't know if we have enough time for all of them.
Probably not. But if you want to throw some more out there,
well,
it's always
Tamara
fun.
Pithitude, have you seen her comic strip on LinkedIn?
Yes.
I crack up on it. I try and comment all I can. If you haven't seen it, then you need to check it out. It's and plus her merchandise is just hilarious. I usually spend money every time I come here and see her. And then we have,
and she's a pickleball friend of mine. So
yes, she is.
My gosh, we go that round too.
We had people at the event last night that were on their way to pickleball. They kind of stood out in their gear. So no, go pickleball forever.
Yes. Anybody else you want to give a shout out to?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about, I want to share with any of the people listening to this that if you're a small business owner, one of the most common things that I hear is that you don't think you're doing enough. So sometimes when people are talking to me, I say, if you're talking to me, you're doing enough. If you're listening to this, you're doing enough. Sometimes we don't reflect, and it's important to maybe sit and look back at what you've accomplished and give yourself some credit. But by coming to a meeting or two, by working slowly on your things, you're doing a lot. And it's difficult to prioritize when you're a small business owner. One of the things that we do talk about in Women in Business is that superpower piece. And that superpower piece is really just recognizing what comes to you naturally and organically that you can amplify. I am fond of saying to people, if you don't know what your superpower is, ask your best friend. They know what it is. It's something you do so easily. For me, once I was challenged to figure out what my superpower is, I know that it's chocolate and peanut butter. It's creating those spaces where people can come together. It's saying you should go talk to them. You should go, and keeping all of these resources together. But what I think is important about knowing your superpower is the ability to trust it. When you play to your strengths, We all have our strengths and each one's different. So use other people for their strengths. But once you know your strength, you can go out more confidently, and you can also really promote that as your unique value to people, right? And then when you amplify it, you're a superhero. So these are some of the things that we talk about in the meetings, because it's just as important to layer confidence and support. Hope is a metric. You have to continue to tell people that what they're doing is valid. And as they share their dreams, which is super vulnerable.
And those are some phenomenal tips. I know we're running out of time already, Kim. But, I'm thinking, okay, what did I get out of this today? Chocolate and peanut butter. Trust your superpowers. Reach out. Know that you can trust the community that we're in. There are resources. Kim is available. Kim, how do they get a hold of you for the last final comment?
Find me on Facebook at CCD Business. Find me on, you can email me at k.todd@ccdbusiness.com. It's different than the website, which is .org. I don't know. I don't make the rules. But really, you reach out to Joanie, you reach out to Michelle, you reach out to your community. They know how to find me, and I travel everywhere. My cell phone is on my business cards so that people are able to text and message, because that's the way we communicate these days, and that's fine with me.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh, what a plethora of information. Oh my gosh. Thank you, beautiful listeners on the gorgeous coast of Southern Oregon and Northern California, for being with us today in this joyously free Kim Todd Small Business Superwomen Stories. Oh, the tips were just unbelievable today. Golden nuggets. We thank you, Mike and Rick and Candace and Tom and Rose. That's who I remember. And so we also want to thank all of you who listened in today. Remember that you can get a hold of us at any time here at KCIW for follow-ups on anything. We want to wish you good dreams, great dreams. Follow your dreams. Use chocolate and peanut butter as your motto today to reach out and go deep within to find what you need to do to make our community even better. We want to say, smile big, bright colors, and wahoo, Kim. Thank you, Kim Todd.
I'm inspired. I'm inspired, Joanie. Thank you for having us.
You betcha. My pleasure. Thank you.